So today I'm going to just walk you through the four main stages of coloring a video. First thing is, when you shoot video, your camera records in what we call a color profile. Now log is a very flat, low contrast profile that looks washed out at first. So you can see from this footage here that the colors are not there and it looks washed out and it has low contrast. Now, why do we shoot in this color profile when we want to do a lot of post-processing of the video? Well, the main reason is that it captures more dynamic range. So that means you keep details in the shadows, so all the very dark areas are not completely black. There's actually some detail there. And you also keep details in the highlights, so all the very bright areas like the sky, there's also a lot of detail that's retained in those highlights. So this gives you more flexibility in post-production. Second thing you want to do is to convert your log footage to Rec 709. So now that you have your log footage, you need to make it look normal. That's where Rec 709 comes in. Now, what is Rec 709? It's the standard color space for most screens, TVs, and online platforms. So I have these clips that we're going to be using in this tutorial, and you can see they look really flat, and that's because I shot these in Canon's C-Log. So in Premiere Pro, if you want to convert your footage to Rec 709, you want to go up here to Lumetri Color. But first of all, what I'm going to do is put an adjustment layer over all the clips, because I know my exposure and my settings were the same for all the clips that I'm going to be using. So I'm just going to apply the same effects over all the clips, and instead of going to each individual clip and applying those settings, what you can do is go down here to new item, click on that, and then choose adjustment layer. Click on that and it should give you settings that match your timeline. So I just go OK, and my adjustment layer appears in my bin right here. And then I just drag this over all the clips, extend it to cover all the clips. So using that adjustment layer has two advantages. One is I can apply all my effects to the adjustment layer and they will affect the clips below. And so I don't have to apply to each individual clip. And then I can also just undo things by removing the adjustment layer. So I'm not playing with the individual clips. So now that I have my adjustment layer there, I want to convert my footage to Rec 709 so that it looks normal. So I go up to here to Lumetri Color. If you don't see this tab, then go to Window and make sure Lumetri Color here is checked so that this tab appears. I click to open the basic correction, and you see it says here Input LUT. And so to convert this to Rec 709, all you need to do is to click and choose the camera that you used in recording your footage. So in this case, I used the Canon and I used Canon C-Log. So I'm going to choose that, and you'll see the clips have already changed into a normal color. Now, if you have the basic Premiere Pro, you might not have all these cameras. I had to install all these LUTs myself. Premiere Pro comes with a limited number of cameras, so you have to download the LUTs for your log and then install so that you can convert your footage. And that's the second stage in our color grading workflow. The third stage is what we call color correction. And sometimes people confuse color correction and color grading. So now that your footage looks normal, as you can see, you might still have issues with it. With mine, I don't have much in terms of issues, but maybe your footage is too warm. So maybe it looks too warm like this, or maybe it's too cool like this. and you want to set your white balance so that it is looking normal. Or your footage exposure might be too dark or too bright, or if you have people in your footage, the skin tones might be off. So you want to correct all those things before you go on to your color grading. So color correction is about fixing these problems so everything looks balanced and consistent. Now when you're doing this in any editing program, if you are an advanced user, then you can use the scopes in Premiere Pro to do your adjustments. So these are tools. I already have mine here, Lumetri scopes. So if I click on that, you see different types of scopes that appear. If I click on the settings here, you can see all my scopes that are available. So you can have a histogram, parade, waveform. So let's have a look at the waveform and get rid of the vector scope. So this is probably the most useful in terms of making adjustments to your exposure. On one side you have this numbering from 0 to 100, and then on the other you have this numbering all the way up to 235. For a beginner, what you really need to know is that this is good. You want everything kind of showing up in the center of your vector scope. Let me show you what happens if your exposure is too dark. Everything goes down and it's squashed at the bottom of your scope. Now when it's down here, and especially when it's down at 0, it means your image is too underexposed. And the opposite is when you see everything up at the top, it means now your image is overexposed. And so you want to adjust your exposure so that everything lies somewhere in the middle. Now it also depends on your image. Sometimes you have an image that has a lot of dark areas, so you expect that a lot of your image will be down here. That's fine. If you have shooting a lot of white stuff, then your vector scope will lie somewhere at the top, but you never want it to clip up to 100 or go down to 0, because then that means your image has no recoverable detail. So these scopes actually help a lot, but these are more for advanced use, so we won't go through them at this time. So now that you have your correction done, you're finally ready to do your color grading. With color grading, you can actually do this manually by adjusting all these settings and then going to your creative tabs, your curves, your color wheels, and all these tabs at the bottom to get the color that you really want and the look that you want for your image. But for this tutorial, I'm just going to show you a quick and dirty way of color grading your footage. So you click on this creative, and then go to the top here. You'll see it says look, and Premiere Pro can use LUTs that are already prepared to give your image a certain look. And just like the basic conversion to 709, if you click on the look, you'll get all these different looks that you can apply to your image. As a beginner, this is a very good place to start. So I have these 4 that I installed, but these other ones come with Premiere Pro, and you can just click through the different ones and see how these presets affect your image. I personally like this YouTube Punch, and I use it a lot, and it's a good starting point for your color grading. Once you have the look, the basic look dialed in or selected, you can always go down here to all the other adjustments to tweak and refine your look. But for most of what I do, I personally just go for these presets and just make a few tweaks if I want. If I'm not quite happy with the look, I make a few tweaks here and there. But for a beginner, this is a good place to start. And so once you're done with the looks, you're basically done with your color grading. Like I said, this is just a beginner's look at color grading. So once you're comfortable with these 4 steps, you can now go to more advanced ways of color grading your footage manually in whatever program that you're using to edit. And that's it, the 4 stages of coloring a video. You want to start off with log footage. You convert that log footage to Rec 709, and then you correct the image so that it's accurate, and finally you color grade by either just applying a LUT like I did, or if you are very confident and you're more advanced, you can actually manually color grade your footage. And with some programs, you can actually create your own LUTs for color grading. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, hit the like button, subscribe for more tutorials on video editing and color grading.